Okay, everybody, we're going to go to number 18 of the episode of the Chronicles of Enlightenment, or the Enlightenment Chronicles, which is coming from the Book of Nothing. So, in the absence of a self-center, what do we find? Is it not this immediate, non-locatable sense of being, the feeling of your very own presence? Is it more or less just an awareing, a seeing being without attributes itself and beyond definition? Can anything exist, be known, or be experienced in the absence of this sense of being? I've gotten so much commentary or so many questions about the sense of being in the past, and this nails it as well as anything I've ever seen. So let me read this again. And this is number 18. So in the absence of a self-center, what do we find? Is it not this immediate, non-locatable sense of being, the feeling of your very own presence? Is it more or less just an awareing, a seeing being without attributes itself and beyond definition? Can anything exist, be known, or be experienced in the absence of this sense of being? What is this sense of being? It's it, it's this. When you rub your hands together and you feel hands, only reason you can feel that is because there's a sense of being first. The sense of being is first, and then then there's the experiencing that occurs due to the sense of being. And it can be psychological experiencing, it can be physical experiencing, emotional experiencing, frightening experiencing, delightful experience, makes no difference. Anything you experience, and anything that exists. What can exist if there's no one there if you don't have the sense of being? Because if you don't have the sense of being, you don't exist. You think, gee, I can't find the sense of being. What's looking for the sense of being is that sense of being. It's the same thing. It's not over there. It's not difficult. It's not mystical. It's right here. It's right here. And it is the sense of being. What is it? It's the sense of existence that you have right now. It's that sense of existence. You feel like you're here. You don't know what here is. I mean, maybe, or you do, but whether you do know what here means or anything, it doesn't, all that's academic. What matters is that there's a sense of being here. Yeah, there's a sense of being here. There's a sense of being on the planet. There's a sense of me being in this room, a sense of me being in front of the computer, a sense of me talking to you. It's a sense of being. The sense, I pick this up, how do I know? When I pick this up, how do I know what's down there? I can feel the phone. Actually what I feel is I just feel outlines of something. I just feel the sides of something, the sense of being. And so I pick it up, and when I pick it up, I definitely can feel that it's my phone. But I'm still making up stories until I actually look at it. And then I say, oh, it's my phone. The way that I could feel that, the way that I could look at it, the way that I can hear it, is that the sense of being is first. There is the sense, there is oblivion, and then there is the sense of being. And then there is the world. Yeah, it's just that fast. It's just that certain. It's 1, 2, 3. So the sense of being is right here. There's nothing to it. And it's vital that you get this idea, because this is the whole key. I mean, I talked about sense. This is the sense I'm talking about the sense of being. It is just too easy to spot, and everybody's making all this stuff very difficult. And it isn't. It's easy, and it's right here. The reason you don't notice this stuff is because it's too simple. It's too easy. And your big intellectual head wants to work out this problem. It wants to get to the bottom of this. It wants to understand this so that it can share this and so that it can puff itself up and say, look what I know. It's really just the sense of being. There's a sense that there's something here. Now, the sense of something is not the same thing as the truth of something, but it feels like there's an I that is here. That's the sense of being. We're not talking about being necessarily. We're talking about the sense of being. So the sense of being is what we use to discover a deeper true nature. The sense of being is, you can't look for it. What's looking for the sense of being is the sense of being. What you are in most teachings is that sense of being. Is that it's what is it? Oh, it's consciousness. It's consciousness. But we're not talking about exotic consciousness. I don't even know of any exotic consciousness. What I know of is the plain, everyday consciousness that every one of us has. And the extraordinary thing is that there's actually, every one of us have it because it's the same one. There's one sense of being. This has it. My dogs have it. My wife has it. You have it. Everybody you know has it. Every animal on the planet has it. And plants, they have a sense of being in some ways that we just don't quite understand. But they can't exist in the absence of us having a sense of being, if you will. Somebody has to witness it. Maybe a rock can witness a rock. I don't know about all that. But I do know about the sense of being that I know about, which is this human sense of being. And I can tell you that my dogs, they have a sense of being. They know the food goes in this end, and they know when it's time to sleep and all this. They have consciousness. They have consciousness. And what we're training ourselves to do here is to be alert to consciousness. And what are we training to be alert to consciousness? Consciousness. See why it's tricky? Of being aware of being aware. And it's just consciousness noticing consciousness. But sounds like this is not a little thing. It's a huge deal. It's a little discovery into what it seems like, but it's actually the huge deal. This is the door of enlightenment, and you can open it by simply noticing that you are noticing this. This is being noticed. How is this being noticed? Well, there's eyes, there's ears, there's smell, there's touch, there's taste. And what are all these things reporting to? What are all these things? How are all these things getting information? Consciousness. And what are they reporting to? Consciousness. Consciousness runs through this body, and this body gets information. This is an information getting tool for the awakeness, or whatever is prior to consciousness. It's so, and we'll talk about what's prior to consciousness some other time. Right now, let's just stick with consciousness. The sense of being is consciousness. And what's it notice? It notices consciousness. Everything is made of consciousness. Can this exist in the absence of awareness? No. Can it exist in the absence of attention? Absolutely not. You can say, well, it could exist. We just wouldn't, what, you wouldn't know about it? Do you know that something exists that you don't know about? I don't believe you can know that. See, it's everything exists because it is witnessed. In the absence of witnessing, so does a tree fall in the forest? When the tree falls in the forest and there's no one there, does it make a sound? What tree, what forest? There's no one there. There's no sound because there's no tree, no forest, no anything. You are projecting consciousness, you in via consciousness are projecting your world. And you're projecting it based upon the DNA, based upon the conditioning, and based upon where you're seeing it all from. And where are you seeing it all from? If you're seeing it through this unit as a Fred, you're going to find it's not, it's just, there's something wrong here. But if you're seeing it as awakeness through this unit, in other words, you're now conscious of consciousness. Oh my God, I thought this was me. But actually, it's the thing that's using this body that is me. You see, it's not the body, it's the user of the body. It's the is the animating presence. It's the consciousness. Everything is made out of consciousness. You say, well, how come it can be hard? How do you know it's hard? Consciousness may not have all the rules that you think it does. Become open to your ideas. Question everything you have ever known. I mean, the last thing that I ever had to question was, gee, I mean, the one thing I knew, if I didn't know anything else, was that I knew I was a Fred Davis, and I knew that Fred Davis was not awake, and I knew that Fred Davis, by God, should be. And all three of those are wrong. I didn't know a damn thing when I thought I still knew something. You got to give it all up. You got to give it all up. Who are you? You're not talking to a Fred. This is not a Fred Davis. That's a goofy old man with a hat. But that's just what I'm using. I'm also using beautiful young women and, virile young guys. I don't care what I'm using. I'll use a cat, I'll use a bird, I'll use whatever I want. Because what I want is I want a specific point of view. When I come through this thing, I get I find out what it would be like living as a Fred if if there was such a thing. I find out what I'm really finding out is what it's like to live as Fred Ness. I'm finding out what it's like to live through all of these patterns that are working together. But see, there's no Fred in the middle of those. There is no middle. There's no inside to me, and there's no outside to me. There's just me, which is this, and you can say exactly the same thing, and you'll be exactly as correct as I am. There's just I, and you can say it, and I can say it. And I can't even tell you there's I. I think that I just don't even know. There's a sense of being. It's as good as it gets for me. You may discover more, but I don't know how you're going to do it. Because, see, it's consciousness that longs to find out what it is that's prior to consciousness. See, but consciousness cannot experience that which is prior to it. Oops. So I hope you've learned something here. This is a very good one to remember and to repeat. I would watch this any number of times until I get this lesson. This is it, folks. Now, it's not several that are it, but this one is absolutely vital. You can get most of it from just this video. You really can. All right. Thank you very much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.